What if your mind is the only thing standing between you and true peace? What if the moment you stop overthinking, everything finally begins to flow naturally? Overthinking is invisible, yet it controls so much of our life. It traps us in endless loops of what-ifs, draining energy and clarity. But there's a way out, a philosophy from Japan called Sekai, the world of emptiness, not emptiness as in nothingness, but emptiness as a state of pure flow, where thoughts loosen, clarity rises, and life stops feeling like a storm you must control. As you watch, reflect on this. When was the last time your mind felt truly quiet? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's explore this together. Overthinking is like carrying an invisible backpack filled with worries, fears, and imagined scenarios. You don't see it, yet it presses on your shoulders, constraining your every move. Imagine trying to run while carrying a weight you cannot put down. Every thought becomes a stone, every what if a boulder. This is the world most people live in. They believe that constant thinking is necessary, that their mind must be busy, or else they're falling behind. But what if that was a lie? What if the mind's true purpose isn't to race endlessly, but to flow, like water moving through a riverbed, encountering rocks without resistance, carving a path without struggle? The Japanese principle of Sekai begins here, in realizing that the noise you fight is not real, but learned. And the moment you accept that, a small opening appears, one tiny space where you can breathe. And sometimes, that one space is enough to begin the journey of flowing rather than fighting. Picture this: you replay the same conversation, scenario, or mistake over and over in your mind. You predict every outcome, imagine every reaction, and plan for problems that may never exist. This is the loop of overthinking, a wheel that spins without moving forward. Sekai asks you to step off the wheel, not by controlling life, but by loosening your grip on the need to predict, to prepare, to fix everything. The world moves regardless of your planning. When you let go of the mental wheel, you suddenly find time, energy, and space you didn't know existed. The mind starts to settle, like water calming after a storm. But it requires courage. Letting go feels risky because we confuse release with loss. What if, in that release, you find not loss but freedom? Samurai warriors were masters of both action and stillness. Before they held a sword, they trained the mind. They knew that a chaotic mind could never create a clear path, could never act with precision. Their training was Sekai in practice, emptiness not as emptiness, but as focus, clarity, and flow. A samurai doesn't overthink the strike. He becomes the strike. He doesn't resist life. He aligns with it. Imagine if you could adopt that mindset. Decisions would no longer feel like heavy stones to lift. Actions would flow naturally. Life would feel less like a battle and more like a dance. But first, you must allow yourself to empty the unnecessary thoughts crowding your mind. Ever notice how your worries repeat themselves like echoes in a canyon? Each repetition distorts reality. The mind takes small fears and amplifies them, making mountains out of molehills. Sekai teaches you to recognize these echoes, to notice that your mind is often replaying old stories, not reflecting the present moment. Once you see it, you create a gap, a quiet space where clarity can arise. That moment may be brief, but it's enough to remind you that your mind is not your enemy. The echo is only noise, and you have the power to listen differently. Inside you lies a still point, a place untouched by fear, stress, and overthinking. You've felt it in rare moments, during a deep breath, a quiet walk, or sudden awe. Sekai teaches that stillness isn't something to chase. It's something to uncover. When you peel away the layers of unnecessary thought, the stillness reveals itself. And when you rest there, even briefly, your perspective shifts. Life isn't something to control. It's something to experience. Ask yourself, when was the last time you truly rested in your own mind? Overthinking isn't just mental. It's physical. You feel it in your shoulders, your jaw, your stomach. Tension builds because the mind braces for imaginary threats. Sekai identifies this as trapped energy. Your life isn't exhausting because of external pressures. It's exhausting because your mind never stops. By learning to release overthinking, energy that was stuck begins to flow. Movement returns. Creativity returns. Life returns. And yet, the first step is paradoxically stillness, sitting, breathing, noticing, without doing. Letting go sounds simple until you do it. Suddenly, fear surfaces. Your mind clings to control because losing grip feels like vulnerability. Sekai teaches that control is an illusion. The tighter you hold, the less you feel. And when you feel less, you fear more. But imagine loosening your hold just a fraction. One tiny release, one moment of trust and flow. You might think the world will collapse, yet it doesn't. Instead, you breathe easier, see clearer, act freer. Life resists those who push too hard. Flow embraces those who move with awareness. The samurai understood this instinctively. Effort without force, action without tension. Overthinking creates friction. Flow creates clarity. The mind acts faster when it is clear. Decisions arrive naturally. Creativity emerges. Peace settles. Sekai is not about inaction. It's about action aligned with flow. Ask yourself, where are you pushing unnecessarily today? And what would happen if you let the current guide you? Most people fight not the world, but themselves. Expectations, imagined fears, and repeated what-ifs create an internal battlefield. Sekai teaches you to see the mind as a river, not a war zone. When you stop forcing thoughts to obey, they move naturally. They settle. They release. And in that release, you find a clarity that battle never gives. Ask yourself, what war are you fighting inside right now that doesn't exist outside? Silence is intimidating because the mind panics when not occupied. Thoughts scramble like waves, trying to fill the quiet. Sekai reframes silence. It's not emptiness. It's a message. Within quiet, the mind's true thoughts rise, the ones hidden beneath rehearsed fears. When you listen, when you embrace the stillness, insights appear naturally. The noise fades. Awareness grows. The first step is simply noticing that silence has something to say. Before changing your thoughts, you must observe them. Sekai emphasizes awareness without judgment. Watch your mind as if it were a stream. Notice the ripples, the sudden waves, the still patches. Don't intervene yet, just see. Observation is the first step toward flow. The moment you watch without reacting, the loop begins to break. You may notice patterns, fears, or triggers you never realized existed. And once noticed, something extraordinary happens. You gain choice. You are no longer the hostage of your thoughts. Flow is not an accidental state. It is a cultivated practice. Sekai is about training the mind to move without resistance. Like a river carving stone over centuries, small consistent steps shape your mental landscape. Daily practices, mindful breathing, brief meditation, journaling are the brush strokes painting your mental canvas. The goal is simple. Thoughts should move freely without dragging you behind. Can you commit to this rhythm for even 5 minutes a day? That small practice becomes the seed of liberation. We overthink because we believe we must control outcomes. But control is mostly illusion. Life unfolds regardless of your planning. The more you try to force it, the more resistance you feel. Sekai invites you to recognize this truth. True mastery is not holding on. It's flowing with the current. Release the tension in your grip. When you stop trying to manipulate every outcome, creativity, insight, and peace emerge naturally. The question is, how much of your struggle is truly necessary? Have you ever noticed how long it takes to make a simple choice when overthinking dominates? Sekai shows that clarity comes from emptiness. Decisions are easiest when the mind is calm. Overthinking clouds intuition. Flow reveals it. By emptying unnecessary mental noise, choices become obvious. You act with precision, without hesitation. The mind feels lighter, the body moves easier, and energy no longer leaks into imagined catastrophes. Can you remember a time when a simple choice felt effortless? That is the state we are cultivating. Nature mirrors the flow of Sekai. Rivers don't struggle. They move. Trees don't overthink. They grow. Seasons change without panic. By observing this natural rhythm, your mind can learn a new language, the language of effortless motion. Sit by water, walk among trees, notice the cycles. Your mind begins to sync with flow. The more you witness nature's effortless pattern, the easier it becomes to let go of rigid thought loops. Ask yourself, if nature can flow without effort, why can't you? Flow is not stagnation. It is movement balanced with stillness. Sekai teaches the art of alternating between mindful observation and decisive action. The samurai did not act impulsively. They acted with awareness. Your life requires the same dance: pause, observe, then respond. When overthinking ends, action is neither rushed nor delayed. It is precise, fluid, and aligned. Can you find moments in your day to practice this dance between stillness and motion? Progress is often invisible. You may not notice when the mind quiets or when the loop of overthinking slows. Yet each small victory compounds. Sekai reminds us that growth is subtle, like the rising sun that begins unseen behind clouds. Celebrate these imperceptible shifts: the calm moment, the spontaneous insight, the gentle release of tension. Even if unnoticed by others, your internal world is transforming. Can you recognize these quiet victories within yourself? Breath is the anchor to flow. Overthinking disconnects you from your natural rhythm. Sekai emphasizes mindful breathing to guide thoughts like a river through its channel. Inhale awareness, exhale tension. With each breath, the mind softens, clarity emerges, and action becomes effortless. Practicing even 1 minute of conscious breathing can reset the mind's entire tempo. Ask yourself now, how often do you breathe without carrying yesterday's worries? The what-ifs are the chains of overthinking. They trap you in endless possibilities that may never occur. Sekai teaches that most what-ifs are stories your mind repeats, not reality. Let them pass like clouds across a clear sky. Observe without clinging. Slowly, the fog lifts and the path becomes visible. Each release lightens the mind, restoring energy to creativity, insight, and intuition. How many what-ifs have ruled your day without cause? The hardest part of Sekai is trust. Trust that life moves even when your mind is quiet. Trust that clarity emerges naturally when overthinking ceases. Trust that your path unfolds even if you cannot predict every step. Flow is not passive. It is confident, deliberate, and responsive. By releasing the illusion of control, you allow life to meet you halfway. Take a moment now. Can you trust your mind to move with life rather than against it? Observation is not passive. It is the first step toward mastery. Sekai teaches that by watching your thoughts without judgment, you create distance between yourself and mental chaos. Imagine standing on a hill, looking at the river of your mind. Waves rise and fall, yet you remain steady. The simple act of observation weakens overthinking's grip. A tiny awareness can transform the entire mental landscape. Ask yourself, are you a passenger on your thoughts or the observer of them? We attach so much energy to imagined outcomes, believing that our peace depends on controlling them. Sekai suggests otherwise. When you let go of the outcome, the mind relaxes. Pressure fades. Decisions feel lighter. Action becomes natural. Imagine sending your worries downstream, trusting that the current carries them safely. The moment you release, clarity arrives effortlessly. What would happen if you acted today without needing to control tomorrow? Overthinking blocks creativity because the mind is clogged with unnecessary loops. Sekai clears the mental space, allowing ideas to emerge naturally. Flow isn't forced. It is discovered in the quiet gaps between thoughts. Artists, writers, and thinkers have known this instinctively. Moments of true insight often arise when the mind is still. You too can cultivate this space. Even a few minutes of deliberate mental stillness can unlock ideas that previously felt unreachable. Flow is inseparable from patience. Sekai isn't about rushing to empty the mind. It's about allowing the mind to unclench at its own pace. Every attempt to force calm creates resistance. Instead, practice patience, watch your thoughts, and gently guide them aside. Like a river smoothing stones over centuries, small, consistent patience reshapes the mind. Ask yourself, can you allow change to happen in its own time, without forcing it? Overthinking is often habitual. Our minds repeat patterns because they feel safe even when they drain energy. Sekai teaches recognition first. Notice the pattern. Then gently break it. Replace what-if loops with what is awareness. Each small shift weakens the chains, freeing energy for flow and focus. How many invisible habits control your thoughts without your permission? True flow is not passive. It is action aligned with awareness. Sekai emphasizes the unity of mind and movement. Samurai didn't act without understanding. They observed, paused, and then executed. Your daily actions can mirror this rhythm. Notice first, act second. Flow emerges not by doing less, but by aligning mental clarity with every choice you make. Can you take one action today fully aware, without distraction? Letting go is subtle, almost imperceptible at first. It's not a dramatic act, it's a gentle release. Sekai practices this every day. Thoughts arise, are noticed, and then released like leaves floating downstream. Each release lightens the mind and restores energy to creativity, insight, and focus. Even tiny moments of letting go build momentum. What small worry can you release right now? Life is uncertain, and overthinking thrives on trying to eliminate uncertainty. Sekai teaches a radical truth. Uncertainty is not a threat. It is life itself. By embracing it, the mind relaxes, the body breathes, and action flows naturally. When you stop resisting the unknown, you start dancing with possibility. Ask yourself, how much energy have you wasted resisting what you cannot control? Presence is more than mindfulness. It is the quiet strength that arises when overthinking ceases. Sekai cultivates presence by emptying the mind of noise. In this stillness, clarity, intuition, and confidence emerge naturally. The body moves without tension, decisions arise without struggle, and life feels lighter. Even brief moments of presence can create profound shifts. Can you notice your presence right now, beyond thoughts? The ultimate gift of Sekai is freedom. Freedom from loops, from imagined disasters, from the chains of your own mind. Flow is not an abstract concept. It is the lived experience of peace and clarity. Overthinking dissolves, energy returns, and life unfolds naturally. When you step into this state, you realize control was never the key, flow was. And in flow, you find liberation. Ask yourself, are you ready to step off the wheel and let life guide you? Your mind often reflects fears, not reality. Sekai teaches you to observe this reflection without judgment. Thoughts are like mirrors, sometimes distorted, sometimes clear. By noticing the distortion, you gain clarity. The moment you see that most worries are illusions, a weight lifts. Life feels lighter, decisions sharper, energy restored. Ask yourself, are your thoughts truly yours, or just repeated echoes from old patterns? Flow follows the path of least resistance, not the path of overthinking. Sekai shows that struggle is optional, and effort without alignment wastes energy. Like water finding its way around rocks, your mind can move effortlessly when you stop resisting. Each moment of resistance is a choice. Each moment of flow is freedom. Can you notice where you are resisting life unnecessarily? Curiosity is the antidote to overthinking. Sekai encourages a childlike wonder, observing, questioning, exploring without expectation. When curiosity replaces fear, the mind relaxes, and clarity emerges naturally. Instead of asking what could go wrong, ask what could I learn? Each question opens a door to insight. Can you shift your focus from fear to curiosity today? Mistakes are not failures. They are part of the natural flow. Overthinking magnifies them into crises. Sekai invites you to view mistakes as feedback, not punishment. Each misstep teaches, each error guides, each stumble refines. When the mind stops obsessing over perfection, growth accelerates. Ask yourself, which mistake could you release and learn from instead of fearing? Intuition is the mind flowing naturally, free from overthinking. Sekai cultivates this subtle awareness. When the mind stops controlling, intuition speaks. Decisions arrive effortlessly, insight flows without effort. Learning to trust this internal guidance transforms life. Ask yourself, have you listened to your intuition today, or drowned it in noise? Patience is strength disguised as stillness. Sekai reminds us that rushing mindlessly is exhaustion. Waiting consciously is power. Every moment of mindful waiting allows clarity to emerge, tension to release, flow to enter. Over time, patience becomes effortless, a natural companion. Ask yourself, where can you exercise patient flow in your life today? Rest is not laziness. It is essential for clarity. Overthinking prevents the mind from resting, trapping energy in loops. Sekai teaches deliberate mental rest, observe without acting, breathe without forcing, let go without resisting. In these quiet moments, insights surface, decisions clarify, energy returns. Can you allow your mind a true pause today? Life has a rhythm, a natural flow. a pulse. Sekai teaches alignment with this rhythm. Overthinking creates friction. Alignment creates ease. Notice the beat of your breath, the cadence of your steps, the flow of your actions. When your internal rhythm syncs with life's rhythm, overthinking dissolves, energy returns, and decisions become effortless. Ask yourself, are you moving with life or against it? Flow is simple, yet often missed because the mind complicates everything. Sekai emphasizes simplicity. Observe, release, act. The path is not crowded with steps. It is clear and direct. Overthinking clouds the obvious, while flow reveals it effortlessly. Ask yourself, which thoughts are unnecessary and which truths are waiting quietly. The final step is becoming the observer of your own mind. Sekai teaches that freedom begins when you watch without interference. Thoughts come and go like clouds. You remain the sky. Overthinking no longer controls you. Clarity does. Energy returns. Peace settles. Flow emerges naturally. Ask yourself, are you ready to watch your mind without judgment and step fully into flow? Flow is not a destination. It is the journey itself. Overthinking may always whisper, but you now know how to listen differently. Life unfolds in rhythm, in moments of stillness, in the courage to release what does not serve you. The Sekai Principle reminds us, clarity comes when we stop fighting, when we stop controlling, when we simply flow. Take a moment and feel it, the quiet strength, the freedom, the effortless motion. Ask yourself, if your mind could truly flow, what could you achieve tomorrow that you cannot see today? If this journey resonated with you, continue walking the path with us. Comment your reflections below, share the insights that touched you, and join our community of seekers by hitting subscribe. Together, we'll explore the art of presence, the power of flow, and the wisdom of the mind. The path continues. Will you walk it?